enforcement officials urge parents to check their kids' candy for things like pins and needles. But now they should also be looking for marijuana.
The question is, should parents be concerned about their kids getting pot for Halloween? Well,
First off, weed is expensive. In Seattle, marijuana candies sold from licensed dispensaries start at around $3.25 for a single 10 mg THC or CBD infused gummy. For comparison, a bag with 60 fun-size pieces of the good Halloween candy, Twix, M&Ms, Snickers, etc., is $11 on Amazon. An 18-pack of Reese's, Hershey's, and Kit Kats for $11.84 or 65 cents a bar. A single marijuana candy is still 5 times more expensive than that. What is the history behind these types of false narratives? Let's learn them together. The Halloween candy scare originally emerged from general fears about poisoned or tampered Halloween candy, starting in the 1970s. Stories of strangers inserting razor blades into apples or poisoning candy, though largely unsubstantiated, created widespread paranoia. Despite there being no confirmed cases, the idea of Halloween candy being unsafe stuck in the public's mind. During the 1980s, as President Nixon's war on drugs escalated, cannabis was demonized and portrayed as a dangerous drug. This era saw an increase in anti-drug propaganda, including the "Just Say No" campaign, which used scare tactics and misinformation to target youth. Cannabis was lumped in with hard drugs, creating a perception that it was a major threat to public safety. As cannabis legalization began gaining traction in states like Colorado and Washington in the early 2010s, opponents of legalization turned to fear-based narratives to maintain support for prohibition. The marijuana-laced Halloween candy narrative became one of those tactics, aimed at stoking fears that cannabis legalization would lead to an increase in irresponsible use, particularly around children. Cannabis advocates and industry experts have debunked the idea that people are giving away expensive cannabis edibles to children on Halloween. However, the persistence of this false narrative reflects a broader societal fear of cannabis that continues to delay federal legalization efforts. For decades, false narratives like these have shaped public perception, fueling outdated policies and keeping cannabis classified as a dangerous drug. While the world moves forward, these scare tactics hold us back, preventing federal legalization and the criminal justice reforms we desperately need. This myth has been debunked numerous times by experts. The New York Times and Washington Post have published articles addressing the lack of evidence behind these claims. For example, one article from the Washington Post titled, "No, People Aren't Trying to Give Your Kids Marijuana-Laced Candy," highlights the fear-mongering surrounding this narrative. Here at S1, we don't put up with this type of propaganda through fear-mongering. This false narrative uses fear to demonize cannabis, trying to roll back years of progress by making weed the villain. But we know better. Let's stop spreading myths and start educating ourselves about the real impact of cannabis. Don't let fear be the trick this Halloween.